see some weird shit when you're on the road. Geez, you'd be screwed if you didn't like crowds. $350 metres to go before I hit a road. Could be the longest 350 metres I've ever known. That's how loud it gets inside these tunnels. It's very intimidating and quite frightening, to be honest. Hey Siri, what's the temperature in Tokyo at the moment?
In Tokyo, it's 4 degrees.
My nipples are about as hard as a diamond right now. Well, g'day pilgrims, and welcome to another Mongrel Dog production, and welcome to Mount Fuji and Japan's Pacific Ocean Cycle Trail. It's currently the early spring and I don't think the temperature's got above single digits yet. Anyway, grab your gear, let's go. Well, welcome to Japan. It's cold, bloody cold. So far pretty seamless transit, providing you do your due diligence and download or do all your checks before you get here. I've just got to walk 650 metres now to the train station and then catch the train to the hotel, about an hour's transit I think. Well, I'm just on my way to the bike hire place. I tell you, their public transport system is so easy to navigate if you use that in conjunction with Google Maps. Google Maps, very, very descriptive. Tells you what station to get off at, what exit to take. Very helpful, very useful. Beautiful day today. It's supposed to max out at about 16 degrees Celsius. Beautiful clear skies. I'm not sure if I'll enjoy this sort of weather the whole time I'm here. First couple of days of autumn. I think I'll be in for a couple of cold days along the way. I'm only a couple of kilometres away from Tokyo City. But yeah, we'll go and get this bike and do the handover, eh? Well, that was pretty seamless, although one thing that did concern me is if I get a puncture, I'm not allowed to repair it. They do have a breakdown service and I've paid for that. It's not much, certainly worthwhile. But if some of the places I'm going are quite remote, if I get a flat tyre, I certainly have the ability to repair it. Anyway, we'll worry about that if it happens. So yeah, pretty seamless transaction. Got the bike for a month. I don't need it for a month, but I've got the bike for a month. And I'm trying to obviously make my way back to the hotel now, and I'm using Maps.me. It's one of my favourite navigation apps for this sort of thing, for bike touring. Just type in the cycling mode and it takes all the back roads. So I've got about a 23 kilometre ride back to the hotel. Probably take me, I don't know, an hour and a half. Doesn't matter, I've got all day.
Turn left.
Well, I'm nearly where I'm supposed to be. I start recognising some of the landscape. I've only been able to average about 16 kilometres an hour, primarily because you're in, effectively suburbia. My average will increase and improve as I go on, once I hit the open road. But yeah, fairly seamless to get here. The hotel doesn't have any parking, any car park or anything, but by coincidence there's effectively a cycle parking lot next door, so I'll secure the bike there overnight. Costs about, I don't know, $10 for 24 hours. I'm happy to pay that rather than leave the bike exposed. think I've seen my first cherry blossom, if that's what it is. Apparently they flower at different times of the month. This is early spring for them, first few days of spring. Been an interesting morning so far. Lots of new experiences for me. Parking underground with the bike. Yeah, loading the bike up effectively for the first time with all the weight that I've got to carry. All I've got to do now is find my way out of the city, and the further I get out, the easier it'll become. And just like that, after 16 kilometres, you're out in the bush. Oh, I'm sure it's not the last I've seen of traffic. This makes for a nice change.
100 metres turn left, then turn right.
Yes, dear. Hey Siri, what's the temperature in Tokyo at the moment?
In Tokyo, it's 10 degrees.
Yeah, I thought so. Well, I'm riding on a dedicated bike path, but it's actually a levee bank. There must be a fear of flooding if the river bursts its banks. So I saw a lot of this in South Korea as well. I cycled what they call their Four Rivers cycle trail. Goes for about, I don't know, 650 kilometres from one end of the country to the other, and that had a lot of levee banks along most of their rivers, I guess, to prevent flooding. I'm actually heading in the direction of the airport. Where I'm staying tonight is a hostel, and they offer things like airport transfers and stuff. So yeah, I'm actually heading, I guess, in an easterly direction. Yeah, back towards the airport. Alright, I might try and help join the dots a little. The bike I've hired is it's not one I've heard of before. It's a BESV model JF1. 3 power settings, 10 speed. The motor is in the rear hub. It's a rigid frame. It's not the bike I would have chosen. The one I did want wasn't available for the period that I was going to be here. So I settled for this. It was about as close as I was going to get. Yeah, like I say, rigid frame. Hardest seat I've ever felt. But it should do the job okay, I think. Ordinarily, those who watch the channel would know that most of my cycling trips have been towing a trailer behind me, a single-wheeled bob trailer. BAB beats the burden. The trailer's done about 35,000 kilometres, different parts of the world. But because of Japan being a bit hilly, I thought, you know what, I might hire an e-bike instead, because I'm getting older. I'm 68, and I would struggle on some of the hills, I think. So yeah, the mob I hired this from, they're called Cycle Trip. Pretty efficient organisation, pretty seamless handover yesterday. And the bike has cost me, I don't know, about 500 Australian dollars, maybe 600 Australian dollars for the month, which I thought was pretty reasonable. Well, I'm just making a bit of a detour. I've got time on my hands. They don't allow check-in in this case until 4 PM, so I've got lots of time. I've just taken a bit of a detour through some, what they call a traditional village. Yeah, I'll just pull over and have a bite to eat, kill a bit of time, a cup of coffee. Yeah, I guess where I am now, this would have been one of the main arterial roads back in the day. Pretty sleepy town now. Well, I'm only a couple of kilometres from destination. It's still pretty early. I don't think there'll be anybody there, or if there is, they may not allow me to check in this early. We'll see how we go. If need be, I can pull over somewhere and have a cup of coffee and start planning tomorrow's route, or route, depending on where you come from. Mixed bag of conditions today. By the time I get there, I would have covered about 66 kilometres. Still lots of juice left in the battery. And this bike does actually have a spare battery. That was part of the deal, and I think part of the reason for that is the battery's only 7 amp hours. Now, I'm no expert, but I believe that's not great. Although today it certainly performed well. And as I said, 66 Ks, and there's still probably at least a third left. It'll be interesting to see how it behaves once I hit the hills. Geez, this has got to be the hardest seat I've ever sat on. I guess by about day 3 it won't matter. My ass will just take the shape of the saddle, but it's pretty damn hard. Anyway, should be there in a few minutes. It's a hostel, don't know how many rooms. It's costing me about, I think, $45 Australian, so pretty cheap. And so ends day one on the road for me. I'm just going up the road here a bit to get a feed at a Japanese restaurant. Pardon me. Where I'm staying is effectively, yeah, a traditional Japanese house that's been converted over to a hostel. So yeah, I've got my own bedroom, but of course you've got to share the other amenities like the kitchen and the shower, and that's okay. And in fact, I'm sort of enjoying it because the whole idea of this trip is, and the whole idea of cycle touring, of course, is to experience another country's culture, and this is certainly a good introduction to that. So anyway, we'll go and get a feed and get an early night, and then get back in it tomorrow. Right, morning of day two, late start, 10 o'clock for a couple of reasons, so it warms up a little bit, and also I've got pretty much 5 hours to do about 60 kilometres, so I might as well, yeah, relax a little. Interesting evening. Went up the road for dinner, actually the host of the hostel was there, so I had what he was having, because I figured, being a local and familiar with the restaurant, he'd know what's good and what's not. So yeah, had dinner with him, went back, did some research, and then called it a night. Today, yeah, 50-60 k's I guess to the next destination, most of it which I think is along that levee bank again. It's the weekend, today's Saturday, so you would expect a few more people out and about, spending their time doing some recreation. A whole load of caltrops ready to be deployed. They must suffer some pretty major storm surges or something, because you know, it's not unusual to see those caltrops on a lot of the coastlines around Southeast Asia, South Korea, and obviously here. Yeah, just to prevent storm surge damage. Taiwan also, I saw a lot of that stuff in Taiwan. Old mate back at the hostel said that Koshi, I think that's the name of the place I'm going to, very, very industrialised, and I know it may be difficult to see, but there's lots of smokestacks over there. My guess is power generation, looking at all the high tension lines around. He also mentioned that Koshi has the biggest fishing port here in Japan, so I'll be curious to just see how big that is. Well, I'm approaching the hotel. I can see it from here. It's an unmanned hotel. I didn't know that when I made the booking, but I've since found that out. I'm going to go there. It's way too early to check in. Check-in's not till 3 p.m. I'll go there just to scope it out and see how complicated it's going to be. I hope they got some of the stuff written in English. Otherwise I'll be banging on people's doors for assistance. I did have some experience with unmanned hotels in South Korea. That process was pretty streamlined. We'll see how we go, eh? It ain't new. Okay. Yeah, okay. I typed a PIN number into an iPad type thingy and it said, no, can't check in before check-in time. So there's a couple of things I can do. I can go into town, see if I can find the official start to this Pacific Ocean cycling trail. Yeah, I've got to fill in a couple of hours, so I'll go into town. It's not far, a couple of kilometres. My research indicates that the start point is effectively the Tourist Information Centre at their central railway station, so I'll go there. Hopefully they'll be open and somebody can give me a bit of a heads up on yeah, where to start looking for it. Tourist information. Well, the young girl in there was able to give me 3 very detailed maps of the whole trail, so I mean it's in Japanese, but using Google Translate I'll be able to I'll be able to stumble my way through that. This is not the start point, but before I left Perth I downloaded some GPX files, so we'll make a start. I've still got a couple of hours before I can check in, so we'll make a start following the GPX file and see where it takes us. Well, that's the symbol that marks the trail, so as long as I keep seeing that, I'll be on the right path. I'm going to go as far as that lighthouse. To me, that effectively was going to be the start of the trail for me. So we'll go there, we'll have a look, eh? Right, now that I've seen the lighthouse, and from here I'll make my way back to the hotel. It's about 10 kilometres away, and tomorrow what I'll do is I'll just bypass this section, just take the shortest possible route to pick up the trail. So yeah, by the time I get back to the hotel now, hopefully I'll be able to check in. Let's try again. I hope I don't regret this. There was a car there earlier, that's gone. It's not a good sign. Yeah, even from a distance it doesn't look great. I think I've paid, I don't know, $51 Australian. We'll see what the room's like. I've only got a minute to go. Alright, I must have ticked all the boxes because they've given me a room number and an access code. Yeah, anyway, and I might leave the bike in here this evening, I think. If it's unmanned, nobody's going to complain, are they? It was an interesting experience. Anyway, I'm in. Actually, I'm pleasantly surprised the room's not bad. It's got a fridge and a microwave. Yeah, for $50, I can't complain. But yeah, getting in, geez, that was a mission. Anyway, we'll go to the local convenience store, get something to eat for dinner, and buy a few beers, and then and spend the rest of the evening researching tomorrow's route. It's 6 p.m. I'm just going to have a look outside, but my guess is, oh no, there's a motorcycle parked in the car park. Maybe there are other guests here this evening. Surprises me. I don't know how a place like this can stay in business. Anyway, yeah, I thought I'd check on the bike because that's the thing that means the most to me. I don't think that's going anywhere this evening. So yeah, 10 to 6. I'll call it a night. Well, I'm starting the day with a climb. Yeah, quite steep. Pardon me, I think it's about 60 metre elevation. Yep, once again, thankfully I've got the e-bike for that. Interesting night last night, I've got to be honest. The longer I stayed there, the more I enjoyed the facilities. So it just goes to show that you can't judge a book by its cover, because on the outside it looks so run down and dilapidated, but here on the inside, very, very clean. So yeah, I'm glad I took that as an option. Self-check-in and check-out for me is a little bit complicated, only because of the language barrier, but anyway, I got in and I got out. Today about 65 kilometres. I'll just take a shortcut to the Pacific Ocean Cycling Trail and then pick up the trail markers and head southwest, I guess. Another beautiful clear day today. Bit cool, but that's okay. I've never associated Japan with surfing, but clearly they do. I've hit the coast. I guess that must be the Pacific Ocean. I guess it's about time I tried to help join the dots a little. The plan was to do Japan's Pacific Ocean cycling trail. It's the longest cycle trail in Japan. It goes for about 1,470 kilometres. I'm not going to get to do the whole thing. I'll get to a point and then turn around and head back towards Tokyo. I'm in country for about 3 weeks. I'm on holiday. It's not a race. I plan to do 60, 70, 80 k's a day perhaps. On a couple of occasions it might be less. But I've hit the coast now. This is day 3 on the bike for me, and I'll be following the coast for a little while yet. The trip does involve a couple of ferry crossings, and you've got alternatives, and there are a couple of options. Sometimes if you need to make up time or take a shortcut, you can. It might involve a bit of climbing, but I'll know more about that in a few days' time.